We start with breaking news right now at 6, where a crash involving two vehicles ends with a car smashing into the front of the car store on Debarr Road in Anchorage. Police say two people were in the car that went into the building. No crash injuries were reported, but the driver of the car in the store was taken to the hospital. We're working to find out exactly why. Police say no one was arrested, no criminal charges have been filed. The alternate entrance to the store is open, and there are no current plans to close the store at this time.
All right, now to some weather conditions we warned you about last week, prompting that first alert weather day for South Central. Snow, some freezing drizzle, creating road hazards to start the week off. You're looking at video from Palmer today.
And this is just the beginning, with heavier snow expected tomorrow.
Chief Meteorologist Melissa Fry has been tracking this for us just been tracking it for us. Melissa, what can we expect?
Yeah, we're going to see a little break here tonight, but don't let that fool you. Again, more snow is on the way. We are tracking, again, pretty heavy snowfall totals, and that is why we've added another first alert weather day for Tuesday. So we'll continue through the day even heavier than what we saw today. And after we get just another about 3 inches of snow, we are likely to break the record for the snowiest January on record. Looking at those views across South Central, you can see snow on the Glen as you head out across the Parks Highway into Talkeetna and Anchorage, seeing snow falling across town with temperatures all sitting in the teens and low 20s. We had that band sitting over us for most of the day. That is starting to break up just a little bit, but we have a much heavier band that is going to move in tomorrow. In fact, look at this. Once we get into those overnight hours, again, you may even notice some clearing, especially as you head into the valley along the Sterling Highway for the western Kenai Peninsula. But you can see all that purple. That is that next band of snow pushing west. That'll be with us for the morning commute, continuing into the afternoon, even into the evening commute before breaking up, heading into Wednesday when we see just a few lingering showers at that point. So again, heavy snow. It is on the way for Tuesday. These snowfall totals will be impressive. Right now, I'm expecting another 5 to 10 inches. This is on top of what we've already seen. That is for Anchorage into the valley and for the western Kenai Peninsula. Heavier snowfall totals as you head closer to Whittier, Turning Pass, Valdez, and Thompson Pass, where we could see 1 to 2 feet of snow in those locations. Temperatures will hold in the teens in Anchorage, still below zero in Fairbanks. Heavy rain in Juneau and dry for western Alaska, but we have seen quite the transition from that snow this morning to clearing this afternoon. And meteorologist Bailey Braun is out in Kincaid right now, right near where that official snowfall for Anchorage is measured by the National Weather Service. Bailey, you've probably seen that break out there. Have you noticed what we're seeing on the radar?
Yeah, right now it is clearing up just a little bit. Just a minute ago, we did have a beautiful view of the sunset just through a little clearing in the clouds. But it's funny, actually, if you look on the radar, you can see all that purple that was popping up just a little bit. And even just behind me, you can see that low cloud layer and the city lights reflecting off of that. So that shows you that even though we do have drier conditions currently, this is still not quite over. We still have a lot of that moisture sitting close to the surface. And then that's when we'll see more of that heavy snow begin to move in for tomorrow. And even just looking at this parking lot behind me, we've only got a trace of snow, but we're going to see a lot more snow for tomorrow. Like you mentioned, about 5 to 10 inches likely across the region. And we're going to see these snow mounts a lot taller than what they currently are. So tomorrow might actually be a perfect day to go sledding or even skiing or snowboarding with all of that fresh powder that we are expecting. So yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to get outside. But of course, it's really important that you drive safe. This will affect your morning commute and especially affect your afternoon commute. So just be sure that you're careful on the roads. And of course, I want to throw out there, send in your snow measurements to the National Weather Service. It's always important to see what these totals look like across town. So just keep that in mind for tomorrow. But with Alaska's Weather Source, I'm Bailey Braun.
Bailey, thanks so much. Yeah, keep an eye on our on air and online for those weather updates. Now to continued coverage on the North Slope, with North America's biggest land-based drilling rig falling over this past Friday. There's a look at it now. The environmental impacts are now in the spotlight as the state's Department of Environmental Conservation monitors a confirmed diesel spill.
Doyon Rig 26 crashed Friday while being moved on an ice road, sparking a small fire that crews were able to quickly contain. No serious injuries reported, and pipelines remain undamaged, while no ongoing leaks were found as of Sunday. The spill site is near a tributary of the Colville River, which is a critical habitat for Arctic wildlife.
And pivoting now, for 18 months, crews on the North Slope worked 12-hour shifts to build the monumental rig known as the Beast. It required hundreds of truckloads of parts shipped through Canada to Deadhorse.
Yeah, this giant specifically engineered for the Arctic, with experts ensuring it could handle extreme temperatures and also those narrow ice roads. But despite rigorous safety protocols, the skyscraper-sized rig toppled during transport, surprising many in the industry, also the man who helped build it. We spoke with someone who was working on the rig and very familiar with the area, working on the rig to build the rig, very familiar with the area, also the rig's capabilities.
My initial reaction when I saw the video online of the rig tipping over and collapsing was gut-wrenching fear for the lives on board, number one. You know, I knew that there would be employees on that rig, and I know how big that rig is. Everything that's inside of it would be trying to kill you.
While the crew is safe, the heart of the drilling unit now unusable.
And let's head down to the legislature, where Governor Mike Dunleavy introduced Alaska's first statewide sales tax. The tax is 2% year-round, jumping to 4% in the summer. It taxes groceries, gas, electricity, and most retail purchases, but healthcare, prescriptions, WIC, SNAP foods are exempt. The 2% rate would run October through March. The 4% rate would run April through September. That would be Alaska's peak tourist season. Democrat Senator Bill Wielechowski praised the plan, but he calls it aggressive for working Alaskans.
There's no exemptions for food other than for people on WIC and SNAP. There's no exemptions for a lot of other services that working families rely on. So it's an aggressive tax on working Alaskans, and it's very light on taxing outsiders. It's very light on taxing the oil industry. It's very light on taxing the people at the top, and very heavy taxing the poor and working class.
The bill, SB 227, part of the governor's plan that he first mentioned during his State of the State address to address the state's $1.5 billion deficit. The governor's office tells us they will have a statement prepared soon. If passed, it will take effect January 1st, 2027, and would expire January 1st, 2034. Full details and reaction from both sides on our website.
And continuing our Capitol coverage, Juneau lawmakers who oversee the Joint Armed Services Committee say they're still waiting for answers from leaders of Alaska's 11th Airborne Division following the fatal Border Patrol shooting of a Minneapolis VA nurse on Saturday.
As we've been reporting, 1,500 soldiers have been on standby to respond to unrest in Minnesota for more than a week and could deploy if the president uses the Insurrection Act. It comes as President Trump has softened his tone on the Minnesota crackdown today, as some agents are now expected to leave the state as soon as tomorrow. Minnesota's Joint Armed Services Committee has sent a letter to the 11th Airborne's commander asking for more information.
Military, but we do have a concern about what happens to the families. So out of the families that have contacted my office, we're really concerned about their spouses, possibly being deployed within the U.S. in a very short time frame. So it's good knowledge to have, and I think that we owe it to our community.
I think it raises fundamental questions about our constitutional rights. He has a Second Amendment right to have a weapon holstered. The fact that he was summarily executed on the streets of Minneapolis, I think it should disturb everyone who cares about the Second Amendment in this country.
Across the aisle, Representative Jamie Allard sent her own letter to the division. She says the military doesn't have to respond to the legislature's request. Allard told us concerns about the videos are reasonable, but investigators should finish their work before anyone draws conclusions.
The 11th Airborne Division has not yet responded to the legislature's request. We've reached out, but we have not heard back.
And this weekend in Fairbanks, the friends and family of William Rexford held a candlelight vigil in Golden Heart Plaza following the death of Rexford earlier this month.
Father, we come before you today to pray, to lift up our hearts, to mourn, to grieve.
On January 1st, Rexford was shot in his home by state troopers responding to calls of active property destruction. Rexford's family says he was experiencing a mental crisis at the time of the incident, but had been working toward a career in nursing. Family and friends at the vigil say that his death was unnecessary, and they hope Rexford's brother, Adam, who was in the house at the time of the incident and was also struck, recovers.
I really wish that people would open their hearts more. And if you saw each other as full human beings and maybe we wouldn't have so much violence in the world, but my heart is really with the doctors and everyone that's working on healing Adam and the nurses, and my love is with the family, and I feel blessed that I got to experience William while he was here. I'll see you, Cleona.
Adam is currently getting medical treatment in Seattle.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.